What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the show. Today, I have a special guest with us, Big Mike Martin with McElroy Realty. He is a coach, he is a paramedic, and he is a realtor. Mike, go on and fill us in with what I missed out on, and introduce yourself, bud.
Well, you touched on it. I'm a dad, first and foremost, husband. I've got my two kids, and I sell houses, save lives, and I coach baseball. And that's pretty much my life. That's
There you
pretty
go.
much it. I do some hunting, I do a lot of fishing, and I sell a lot of houses.
That's good, man. Our paths crossed probably 10 years ago before
Oh,
either
longer
one
than
of
that,
us.
longer than
It
that,
probably was longer than 10 years ago before either one of us even thought about real estate.
a long time
And
ago.
it's pretty wild how your paths will cross multiple times. So we can get into a little bit of that here in a little bit. But today, Mike, you're gonna share your top three things that sellers should avoid when they're looking at selling their house. So if you want to go
Absolutely.
on and we can go on and get started. And you sent me some notes here saying that your number one is pricing your property too high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is probably one of the number one mistake that sellers and other agents can make, not just in 2025, but just in general. Overpricing your house will cause a lot of issues for you. Number one, people know what houses are worth. Other agents know what they're worth. And if your house is too high, it's not going to get any showings. People aren't going to come look at it. And you're going to sit on the market and you're going to continuously drop price and drop price and drop price until you hope somebody comes and buys it. But at that point, then you got the other aspect of that is if it sits too long and the price just keeps dropping, people are going to come in really low with an offer because people are
Mhm.
going to be waiting and they're going to be looking at it going, oh, yeah, this house has been on the market. I'm looking at this house, but I'm
Yeah,
going to wait and see how low they actually bring this thing down to. And they're going to go, let's offer $50,000 less. And you're going to get less money than what your house is worth.
that's right.
Or on the other aspect of that, it's going to be uh, that people are going to look at your house and go, what's wrong with it? It's been on the market a long time. What's the issue with this house? What is wrong with it? So if you go in and you have an experienced agent who can run the comps and know what this market is doing, having an agent who knows their market and knows how much your house is worth, how much your property is worth, and can say this house is worth X, Y, and Z. It's worth $369,000. So I would list this house at 369.9, 368.9, something around there. I like a little bit of an odd number. I don't like to just go 370. I want to be 369, 900, 368, 500, something like that. Then you can get the maximum amount of value out of your house.
Mhm.
But if you go in and it's worth $369,000, all the comps are showing between 360 and 380, and you go, I want 415 out of it. I'm gonna throw it on the market at 415. In 8 months, you're gonna sell it for $349,000 because that you're just gonna be ready to get rid of it,
Or you're just going to decide you're not going to sell it.
or you're gonna take it off the market and
So,
you're gonna be out all the money you could have got, and you're gonna be stuck in the house that you wanted to get rid of.
so Mike, I think one of the things that you're seeing the same thing as I'm seeing is the way the market has been, interest rates being where they're at. Buyers are a little more few and far between. That we're certainly not in as busy of a market as we've seen in the past recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think buyers have a lot more power than they did a couple of years ago because there's not as many buyers in the market right now. So if you have a qualified buyer and you're going and looking at these houses, you have some negotiating room, I feel like, because there's a lot of houses that are sitting on the market because they're using older comps. I can't speak for other agents of how far back they're going and when they're doing their comps, but the market has shifted so quickly here. I'd say in the last 6 months that
Yeah,
it's hard to really justify going back further than 6 months, in my opinion, when you're running a comp because the market's completely different now.
yep.
How,
And
how would you add to that?
6 months ago, I was on fire. Like I was working with buyers, sellers, just selling houses left and right. And then it was like, come into September, it started doing this. I started noticing a trend. Houses were sitting longer. Buyers weren't really looking. I think a lot of it had to do with the time of the year and elephant in the room, the election. People were waiting to see what happened.
That's
I
right.
mean, And also, I I know this. I had buyers who bought a house in October. Interest rate was in the upper fives, 5.75, I believe. A month later, they were back up to 6.75%. So people went, oh shit, interest rate just went up. Like, I'm going to wait. That's another issue. Waiting on the interest rate to drop. I mean, we don't know. I
Yeah.
can't tell you when the interest rates are going to drop. It could be 3 months from now. It could be 3 years from now. We don't know. But if you find the house you want, let's go get it. But like you said, there's been less buyers, so buyers have the power. So
Yep.
we're able to come in as a buyer's agent and say, I'm going to offer you $20,000 less, and we want you to pay half of the closing costs on top of this. It's all about our negotiations, and sellers are
Yep.
agreeing to it. We're seeing more and more sellers paying concessions towards
Yes.
closing costs or any other things the house needs renovations. They're paying concessions towards it, interest rate buy downs, those things than we have in the past. We're seeing a lot of it. When I'm doing comps, I'm having to look and see, did these sellers pay closing costs on this house, or did they end up paying some? So we're
Yeah.
having to look that up as well, so we can get the true value of what the house is worth.
That's right. So tying this back into the sellers, got any sellers or sellers agents that maybe listen to this, guys. If you're thinking about selling your property, you've got to make sure that your agent is doing a jam up job on the comps and making sure they're being realistic and probably being a little more conservative with pricing
Uh-huh.
if you're wanting it to sell pretty quick. And
Yeah,
again, everything depends on your time frame. So if you're willing to take the gamble and let something sit, if it sits, that's up to you. But if you're needing something to move pretty quick, you're going to need to be pretty conservative in your pricing strategy, at least right now in February of 2025.
absolutely, absolutely. We cannot continue to, if you want to sell your house in a timely manner and get the most out of it with the least stress on you, then you need to price appropriately.
Yeah.
And it goes for the other 2 points that we're gonna talk about as well.
Yeah.
That same,
So let's just go on and hop right into it, Mike. So the number two that you sent was choosing the wrong agent is mistake number two for sellers to avoid. So what would you have to say to that?
man. So there are thousands of agents in our area, in our probably 6, 7 counties that we service. There's
Mm-hmm.
of us,
There are.
and there's probably 2% of those agents are actually doing business, actually actually producing and knowing and understanding. So when you choose the wrong agent, an agent who might not be familiar with that county, or somebody who doesn't understand, or somebody who may just not be experienced in listing properties and running comps and understanding the home sell, the selling of housing, they don't understand it.
Yep.
And when you're interviewing, don't just go with the first agent that you see. Joe Blow on the street calls you up and says, "Hey, well, Mr. and Miss Smith, I'll sell your house for you." Like, don't say, "All right, well, that's fine. Come, I'm gonna interview five. We interview five agents, and you come in. You need to ask the right questions. One of the questions is, how are you going to market my property? What is your marketing strategy going to be for my house?" And if they say, "Well, I'm going to take some real good pictures for you. We'll put my sign out in the yard, and that's we'll put it on Zillow for you." Every single agent can do that.
That's right.
Every single agent can take pictures on their cell phone and post it on MLS. What you need to do is have an agent who understands that marketing isn't just taking a few pictures and putting it on MLS. There's a whole marketing strategy that needs to be added in there. Now, getting good quality pictures is one of the keys. Getting quality photos that showcases the house, not pictures that are blurry or the lights are showing in a weird angle. You need to get a quality photographer, somebody who's experienced and understands how to take pictures of houses, how to get the best angles of houses. You need to get video these houses. I don't care if you use your cell phone. iPhones have a fantastic camera. Take a video of it, post it on social
Yep.
media. Get a drones come in, take a drone picture. These are all things I do. Then you need to make quality social media posts, get it out there in front of people, run an ad, do whatever you have to do. Get in the local Facebook groups, share the house in the local Facebook groups. If you're like us, we have home for sale in our area Facebook group specifically for properties that are for sale. Post it in there. That your agent should also be understanding, hey, I'm going to be listing this house in the next couple of months. I have this house coming. They need to be reaching out to their fellow agents saying, hey, do you got a buyer for this? Before we even hit the market, we need to be going, hey, I got something that's going to be coming soon. We're working on. If you got a buyer, let's go ahead and let them know this is coming. You keep it in mind. I've sold so many houses within the first few days of it being on the market because I've known this house is coming, this house is coming, and I've reached out to my network of realtors and said, I got this house coming to the market. This is what it is. It's brand new HVAC, brand new roof. It's been recently remodeled, and I'm going to list it at this price. Who you got? Within 24 hours, I have an offer on the table, and we close it in 30 days.
And that really, I mean, so a seller needs to really know and do their research on an agent. Agents need to be connected and be involved with other agents in the community,
Absolutely.
whether it's through your local board, local masterminds, whatever. Just if you're just a solo agent in an area, you kind of might do real estate as a side gig or something to do while the kids are at school. That's all fine and dandy. You do you, but you really need to be making sure that you're connecting with other agents to where you can have those conversations and have those contacts, whether they're in the same brokerage as you or not. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
We're all in this thing together.
Absolutely.
So
Another thing your agent needs to be, the agent you choose needs to be a market expert for where you live, where your house you're trying to sell. For me, if it's in Upson County, if it's in Pike County, if it's in Lamar County or Meriwether, I need to know what that market is doing right now. I need
yep,
to be studying it every week because it changes every week.
yep,
You need to ask them, hey, what what was the average sale price in Upson County in 2024? And if they can't immediately come off the top of their head and say, well, in Upson County in 2024, the average sale price was $224,000, about 724, $224,000, about 225,000, and those homes sold on the market in about 30, in an average of 36 days on the market, versus homes that were more than that were 41 days on the market. If they don't know those numbers, find somebody who does.
right.
Find somebody who understands the market, how much these houses are going for, how much the land is worth itself, and how much the house is worth.
That's right.
Because then they can price your house appropriately, and
That's right.
they can give you expectations on what to expect. Because if you know in Upson County, this is just an example. I have a listing in Upson County that's listed at $470,000. Like I said, the average home sold in Upson County in 2024 was $225,000. My $470,000 house is probably going to sit a little bit longer because people aren't looking for that. People are looking for that lower income home that's more for a like a new home, starter home kind of thing, a smaller house, something that's more affordable versus a $470,000 house.
That's right.
In Upson County, that's more of a luxury home.
It is.
And
You're getting a little far from the jobs that can afford
yeah, yeah,
property down in
absolutely.
Upson.
So you have to be able to set those expectations for your clients. And that's what I told my sellers right off the rip. We we know we have a this is what this house is worth. But in our area, in our market, people aren't looking for that. So we're gonna have to find the right buyer.
Yep.
So I'm putting it out in more. I'm not just putting it out in Upson County. I'm sending it out to surrounding counties where those people I know are looking to move out of the larger cities into the country. And this is what they want.
Yep. That's right.
So you have to set those expectations. This might last a little bit longer on the market than something that's less.
Yeah. So the art of selling a property or a home is more than just throwing it on MLS. It is 100% people management and expectation management. And
Absolutely.
a good agent understands that and will exceed in that. And the agents that don't, they're going to struggle because if they're not able to just throw it on MLS and something happens. All right, we're back. We're trying to remember about where we was at. Mike had a important call to take, so he is back with us here. So, Mike, we were wrapping up on the mistake number two sellers make in choosing the wrong agent. We'd pretty much gone through making sure that the agents that you're going to work with knows the market,
Mhm.
knows other agents, and can market your property to those other agents effectively. Has a social media presence, can get your property out to as many eyeballs as possible.
Mhm.
Uh, I think that was pretty much it, right? So
Yeah.
I think we covered that one. So number three, you have not having your property showing or selling ready.
Mhm.
So I'm sure I know I've walked through some properties that with some buyers, and we walk in and it's immediate, something, whether it's the cat piss or it's just dirty or personal items are everywhere. Um, why don't you just go on and pick up that ball and why you have not having the property ready to go?
I have walked into some messes, bro. Like just trash on the floor. I, I got some stories. One of them I can tell you right now. I went to show a house. This was in 2023. I got there. I'm one of the agents. I get there early. I do. And if the sellers are still there, I knock. Say, hey, I'm Mike. I'm here to show you the house, or show the house to my buyers. I'll be outside, and waiting for y'all to leave. Well, I got there and nobody was there, so I went ahead and unlocked the door, walked inside, and it was a disaster. It
Really?
looked it looked like the seller left in the middle of the night and hadn't been back in weeks. I mean, there was trash everywhere. There was dirty dishes that were molded and just disgusting in the sink. Walking through, went to the laundry room, lid on the washing machine was open. There was soggy clothes still in there.
Mm,
I was like, what is going on here? So I did my due diligence. I walked out. I walked the neighborhood. I went next door to the neighbors, and they were outside. They were putting up Halloween decorations because it was about to be Halloween. And I said, hey, you guys, I'm Mike Martin. I work with McElroy Realty, and I'm about to show this house you guys got for sale next door. Can you guys tell me what's going on? Like how long's it been since your neighbor's been there? And they said, oh, she left three weeks ago. She ain't been back since. And so I immediately called the listing agent, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna name any names because we all know them around here. I said, hey, this house I'm showing for you guys, have y'all been over to check on it? Like, it's a disaster. There's nasty dishes out and clothes left in the washing machine. They're just mildewed over. She's like, we ain't been there in weeks. God dang. The house was just a mess. Needless to say, we didn't make an offer on it. And if we
right.
had, we probably would have came in well under what they were asking for it because the house was in such disarray.
Right.
Pool wasn't clean, they had trash outside. It just was horrible. So getting your house ready to show is an art itself.
It
Whether
is.
it's a whether it's an empty house that you need to get staged, or if it's a house that you're still living in and you're trying to get ready to move, keep it clean, keep it tidy, take down some personal items. Don't leave pictures of grandma and granddad everywhere. I know you and we both love to hunt,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of people in our area that have deer heads and everything else, that they've shot ducks and bobcats and all kind of stuff everywhere. Take it down.
Yeah.
Like, take it down, patch the holes if you can. And because some people are going to be turned off by it. Some people don't like hunting. They don't want to see dead animals everywhere. And just get the house ready so that they can envision when a buyer walks in and they see the house, it's nice, it's clean, it's beautiful, it smells good, the quality of the air just feels good. It makes them feel like, hey, this could be my house.
Right.
Versus if they
That's right.
walk into the house, it's going to be overwhelming to them because there's pictures everywhere and just people's stuff everywhere. Like it might overwhelm them, it might turn them off. Get the house
Yep.
ready to sell. Get it ready to show and get it ready to sell.
That is one of the ways that I spin it when I'm working with a seller is if they're still in the property is like you need to be getting ready to move.
Yep.
So pack up all non-essential items that you need to live and let's go on and get them out of the house. I've been through some that was like cattle trails walking through a house and it's like, dude, I seriously can't show your house unless all of this is out of here. Because no one's gonna, you can't see the house
Mm-hmm.
with all your stuff. I've been in others that was great, great clients. They had a lot of stuff. They were actually moving out, and we had to wait 3 weeks to make sure that they had enough time to get all their stuff out. But once all the stuff was out, it showed fine. So again, I mean, a lot of this is part seller, but it's also part listing agent coaching their clients to make sure that the property is ready to go on the market.
Yep.
So
And that comes from that should start as a listing agent. That should start at your initial listing appointment. I had somebody who I work with, like you said, I work in EMS. My partner asked me the other day because I was talking about what I had to do the next day. I had a listing appointment. She's like, "What do you have a listing appointment for? You're just putting their house on the market." I'm like, "Yes, but this part of my job is to go look at the property, go assess everything about that house and that property that needs to be done before we get ready to take pictures, video, and drone. Before
Yep.
we do all of that, before I get my Matterport person to come in and do a 3D virtual tour of the house, I want to make sure that everything is neat. And as I walk through the house, I'm looking at the cabinets, I'm looking at the walls, I'm saying this needs to be painted, I'm seeing if there's any trim that needs to be touched up. If there's anything that needs to be done, I'm looking at it and I'm telling them and I'm making notes. I'm saying, all right, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. So I can tell the seller what we need to do to maximize your value
Yep.
of your house. Let's not overdo it and do things that aren't going to add to the value. But here's a few little things that we can do over the next 2 weeks to get this house ready for the market.
That's right. One that I'm thinking of, walked with the seller, and I had done a prelim comp, was able to get some rough numbers together based on what I knew of the property from just driving past it and what could be seen on tax assessors. But once we got there, this house was a lot nicer than I was expecting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, buddy, I can show you comps, but I can tell you right now the numbers what I have right now are not going to be as accurate after seeing the property. I'm going to have to get back with you. But while I'm here, let's go on and see what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And we came up with a full list. He's working on it right now. Going to have a pretty nice property coming to the market, hopefully come summertime. So,
Heck yeah, dude.
but it's worth the wait to get it done right than go on and throw something on the market right now when it's not ready
Uh-huh.
and just have it sit. Because I'll get
Mm-hmm.
your opinion on this, Mike, but in my opinion, I think the first 10 days is the most critical time for a listing. If you're going to succeed, it's going to succeed probably
Yeah,
within
the
the
first
first
10
10
days.
days.
I would say, give or take 5 days before it hits the market on that. Because if your agent is doing their job and they're posting it as a coming soon
Yep,
and they're letting people know they're putting it on social media, it's going to generate a buzz for those first 10 days as well. So
that's
as
right.
soon as it hits the market, you already know, man, I've had 30 people reach out to me about this house.
That's right. And I think Georgia MLS. I'm sure you use it. That's our
You put
local
it in as coming soon.
MLS here. We can put it in as coming soon. I think we can do up to what 10 days, isn't it, of coming
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, you can pretty well gatekeep. This is talking to agents here. You can gatekeep that coming soon to where potential buyers, can only see it on your website during coming soon phase. It's not live anywhere else. So just a little nugget there for any agents that might be listening. Use that coming soon feature.
Absolutely. I think getting the property ready is crucial. And I want to touch on something that you said about when you pulled the house up on tax assessor site and you were running your initial comps. But then when you got out to the house, you were like, oh man, my comps are off. I need to go back and redo this. That is why you never give them a price over the phone. You never give it to
Mm-hmm.
them till I always tell my potential sellers, I will give you the price that I think your house is worth after I come look at it myself.
Yep.
Because I had that same thing happen to me just last week. I was running comps on a house in Griffin, and tax assessor site said it was a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, and it was only 20. I think it said it was 2,700 square feet, but I was looking at a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, and I was like, okay, so I was pulling my comps, and I came up, and then when I got out there, I realized it's a 4 bedroom, 3 bath with a bonus room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's going to add some value. I need to redo my comps. So when I redid my comps, it added an additional $15,000 to what we could have listed it at.
That's right.
That's why you never give your number to them just based on what you find online, because it could be wrong. That tax assessor site is wrong 85% of the time.
That's very true. And sometimes it's for the betterment of everybody, because if they knew everything, they'd be tacking your taxes up. But
Well, they'd be jacking your taxes all the way up, bro. It'd be horrible.
that's right. But we'll let the tax assessors, we'll pass on that comment there. So anything else as far as getting a property ready to go? We've had some horror stories, Mike. Let's just go through a very general. Let's just go through your process. I'm going to act as a seller here. You're going to be my potential seller's agent, getting a property ready to go. Let's just go through a couple quick things that are pretty common, that pretty well every seller is going to need to do to get their property ready to go if they're working with you.
All right. So number one thing, let's make sure curb appeal looks good. Front yard, as you pull into that driveway, what does the house look like? Do we need to come do landscaping? Do we need to tidy up the front yard? Do we need to clean out if you got a garage or whatever? We need to make sure it looks good. We need to pressure wash that house, make sure the house is clean, make sure the interior is clean. If there's any holes in the wall, let's just throw up some mud over it, sand it down, repaint. Let's make sure the paint looks good. Let's don't do some crazy paint colors. Do something neutral, a light gray. I know people don't like gray. I hate gray personally, but it's an easy color that's neutral whenever you're listing a house. Make sure the kitchen looks nice. Make sure, like I said, trim. Trim is important to me. Make sure trim looks good. Smells. Another thing that will kill a deal. It will kill a sale is if your house smells like cat urine or animal or just
Hmm.
smells bad.
Cigarette smoke.
Dude, cigarette smoke is a killer. It also it yellows up, like it gets all the light like switches, all
You
that's
get that tar
yellow.
everywhere.
Replace them. Replace them. Put some new ones up. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure the smells out of there. We look, get them smells out. Do as best as you can. Let's clean the house. If you're mild seller and your house needs to be cleaned, I have a cleaning lady. I'll call my cleaning lady up. I'll be like, hey Jess, I need you to come out to 123 West Main Street, do a deep clean, shampoo the carpets, clean the bathrooms, clean the kitchen, make sure everything's ready to go before I take pictures and before I get showings ready.
Yep.
And I will probably do that once or twice throughout the whole process if your house needs to be cleaned again.
That's right.
Hey, you got pictures of all these pictures? Let's take them off the wall. Let's clean that wall up, make it look
Hmm.
as best and presentable as possible. Get this house ready to sell. Tidy up the backyard. Is there anything needs to be fixed? Toilets are loose. Let's tighten them down. Whatever needs to be that's small that we can do before we put it on the market, let's look at it.
Right.
Get it fixed, get it ready to go, and tell me when you're ready for me to get my photographer out there because I'm going to schedule my photographer, my drone guy, my virtual tour, Matterport. If y'all don't know what a Matterport is, look it up. It's whenever you look at the property online and you want to do a 3D virtual tour, it's that. I'll get him out there and I'll get my video guy out there. We're going to get everything done in one day.
Yep. You touched on something that I think is worth adding, Mike. Is as an agent, you need to have contacts for all these various
It's absolutely.
trades. You mentioned cleaning. We should all have relationships with handymen. For little odd and end things. The
Yes.
MEP guys, if you want to get into some of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing type stuff, that's great. Doesn't hurt to have contacts, but handyman guys, little guys that can do carpentry work for handrails on a porch or a couple loose boards on a porch, stuff like that. Door trim. You need to have contacts for folks in your area. That way, when you come up on a property that needs these little things, you can be like, "Hey, this needs to be done," and I have a guy that can help you with that.
Yep. That just goes back to being a leader in your market.
Yep.
Networking with the people, not just realtors, not just people, but networking with the people who are in your area who you can do business with, whether it be, like you said, handyman, HVAC guys, electrical, roofers. Um, you also need to
Landscape
be
guys.
landscape guys, cleaners,
Yep.
networked in with other individuals such as an appraiser or such as an inspector or just anybody really that you need in your network that you do business with. You need to be the go-to person when they say, hey, I need this person. Here's their number. Here's a guy who can come out and do termite.
Yep.
He can check for termites. Pest control guy. I got it.
Yep. And if you've got a seller guide, I have a seller guide that I'm working on, and it's
Keep it
gonna have
short.
it's gonna have a list of folks because it's like having it gatekept in my phone isn't gonna help anybody.
No,
It's
no.
it's not gonna hurt me any to go on and give this information out to folks,
Mm.
and if they use me or not, oh well, I'm still helping them because they may end up using one of my contacts. That's fine.
Yep.
You
Your
know.
seller guide, in my opinion, and my opinion maybe not worth crap, but I don't want something that's this thick.
Mm,
I'm not giving you a book because people are going to get overwhelmed with it and it's going to go in the trash can right there. They're not even going to look at it. It should show how I'm going to market your property. And it's something that I'm going to bring with me to my listing appointment and I'm going to go over it with you. It's going to be how I'm going to market your property. If I've already looked at your property, I'm going to already have some comps in mind. But like I said, I'm going to look at the property first. But here's going to be some preliminary comps that I've pulled within the last 6 months. I don't like going further out. Sometimes it's harder in this market.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's going to have the list of people, my contacts, It's going to have what we need to do to prep your house to sell. That's what's going to be in my seller's guide. Those 4 things are in my seller's guide.
Yep.
And I don't put my face all over it because you're going to know what my face looks like. I'm
No
not going
one
to have
wants to see your face anyways. Neither they don't want to see mine either.
a, we're just 2 chubby bearded dudes who love to
Yeah.
sell houses. We
Another
don't have to be
fat guy
pretty.
with a beard that sells real estate. You know,
You don't have to be pretty to sell houses. I don't care what they tell you on selling sunsets.
they might get more Google clicks, but they may not be able to perform. Might have a bigger social media following, but can they sell a
Well,
house? We'll see.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Just because you got a social media following don't mean you can sell a house.
Yeah.
But
Well, good
pretty
deal,
much,
man. Well, I think you've pretty well covered the 3 big mistakes that sellers need to avoid. Pretty much any time, regardless of when they're listening to this. This will go for the as long as real estate is a thing.
yep.
So, any closing thoughts? Any horror stories you want to share with us before we call this one, Mike?
So, oh man, I kind of shared that story about the stuff being in the wash machine and on the sink. I've been in some, man, where people didn't flush the toilet and there was just a giant poop in the toilet, stinking
Man,
it up place. I went and won. I was a brand new agent, my first buyer, right? First buyer, brand new agent. I'm in Fayette County in Fayetteville, showing a house that had recently been slightly remodeled
mm-hmm.
in the high $300,000 price point, which in Fayette County is not really a high value house. It's kind of a middle of the road house in
Yeah, yeah.
that
Middle of the
market.
road's being generous.
Yeah. So we were there. I got there early, but they pulled in almost right behind me. So I hadn't had time to really go through the house myself yet, which it taught me a lesson to get there even earlier so I can go through the house and look at things. So maybe I have to warn them or say, hey, there's this. Thank God it wasn't like an old conservative couple that I was showing. It was a guy who was in the fire department with me before, so he kind of had a funny sense of humor. He was a military guy, so we're walking through the house, and I'm noticing some things. It needs a lot of work. Well, we go upstairs, and there's like 3 bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom. There's no doors. The doors are gone. They're like taken off the hinges. So we walk into the master, go in, and there's the master bathroom. And as you walk in, you can see they've been doing some mud work on the wall. Well, like somebody came in with the mud and wiped their hand through it and started drawing. Well, they just drew a humongous on the wall, just huge, just just like a 16-year-old kid would do. And I was like horrified because I'm oh my God, this is awful. Thank God my buyers thought it was hilarious. We didn't buy the house, but we didn't make an offer. But thank God they thought it was hilarious. But I had to like shoot a text to the listing agent and say, you might want to do something about this because it's going to throw some people off. We're in the Bible Belt down here, man. Like,
Right. Yeah, I think there. I'm sure there already is, but I could just be another one. I just need to start a Instagram page of just the crazy crap we see touring houses.
I think I have a picture of it somewhere in my phone. I'll have to scroll through. I've got like 6,000 pictures in my phone, but I'll have to scroll
Yeah.
through it and see if I can find it. It was like my first month in real estate, and I walked in and I was like petrified. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
That's right. Yeah, we see some crazy stuff. So, well, Mike, I appreciate your time, man. Any closing thoughts you want to share? I think we pretty well wrapped up the 3
Just make sure
mistakes.
you make sure you're choosing. If you're a seller listening to this, make sure you're choosing the right agent because that agent is going to be able to negotiate for you. They're going to be able to understand the market to get you the maximum value out of the house while also decreasing the stress that will be on your shoulders as a seller. They will take that off of you. So find that right agent. It's most likely going to be me
Or me.
or Dakota. And hey, we'll get your house sold for you.
Yeah, man.
That's it. If you're not in our market, find the right agent who is. Don't go with the first one you see. Interview 5. Like I
I
said,
know folks all over the state. Give me a shout.
I know folks all over the southeast. I'm networking, baby.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Um,
Well, good deal. Well, Mike, I appreciate your time, man, coming on the show, and we will
absolutely. Right.
I hope everyone enjoyed it, and we will see y'all next time.